Buddy, it's Tyler with Gaia Force Gaming. I'm here with my friend and teammate Shannon. Hey, Shannon.
Hey, what's up, Tyler?
And we are going to do a quick deck profile because what did you do, Shannon?
Went 7-1 in the Cartomagica Online Regional and placed 10th out of, I think it was over 350 players.
Yeah, I think the final count was like 386. You actually did the exact same thing Dan Vang did, what, 2 weeks ago now? Where he lost round one and then just won out and came 10th?
Yep. Essentially, that's exactly what I did. I literally lost round one. I was half asleep. We started really early. I didn't get any sleep the night before. Made a misplay against a green Herc deck. But then I woke up after that. Got to play the rest of the rounds and 2-0'd everybody except for one opponent.
That's awesome. And what did you play this week?
I call it the RAFF of OTK.
So you played an OTK deck with some Rafflesia Splash?
Yeah. So
awesome.
The RAFF, R-A-F-F, for Rafflesia of OTK. I feel like a lot of green players or people in general have decided to push away from OTK just because of Rafflesia, but I decided to embrace OTK and just splash Rafflesia just because she is predominantly a pseudo level 7, and it's something that you want to use in response to after you've done something big rather than to actually just straight out with. I feel like it's so versatile that if you just try to play it by itself, you're a lot slower, and you're looking for other things to basically whittle your opponent down. Whereas I want to put somebody on their heels and make them respond to me, or I win.
Yeah, so basically you push big tempo with the OTK, get them uncomfortable, and then use the more control-y parts of green to keep them there.
Yeah, 100%. Like if they start getting really aggressive with their big dudes, then I'll pop out Rafflesia and lock them down. Even if it's Rafflesia over a Nidhogg for one, and then do the OTK with the Grand Kawaga and trigger Rafflesia from the Grand Kawaga. That's a huge lockdown. That locks down their blockers, that locks down their big dudes, whichever one I need to do in order to be able to get that damage off. And then I can Chaos Mon to take out whatever I didn't lock down and go forward.
That's awesome. Alright, I'm excited because, me and you played, the same 55 in BT4 format? So
yeah, almost to a T. I think we had some slight differences in the level 4 package, but outside of that, I think it was almost exactly the same. I actually ran into somebody who had about a 95% mirror match with me in the last round, which was really nice. So
very cool. So yeah, take it away. Let us see what the spice is.
Yeah, so the first bit of spice, and the reason that I'm really happy that this came out in BT5 is the Yokomon egg. The reason I like 4 of on this Yokomon egg is because even if I don't have my jamming Palmon, I'm going to be swinging 13k with a Grand Kawagamon, and it'll miss about 80 to 90% of everything in this format. Obviously, you're going to have Nidhogs, you're going to have, Omnis and things like that. But the percentage chance of seeing those things is low enough to where even if I don't have my jamming Palmon, I feel comfortable enough swinging this and having my Grand Kawagamon survive. So I run 4 of the Yokomon that give plus 2k. And then I run 1 Minomon that gives 1k when I attack a Digimon. Some people may look at me and say, this is not great, but in all honesty, I love this thing because there was a time when my opponent had given me 5. I went into Nidhogg on my stack that I raised. I did not Digiburst. Then I played Hidden Potential Discover, suspended my Nidhogg, went into Chaos, and swung over their Boulder Arm for 15k and checked 1 security.
Yeah.
Because I had the Minomon.
Yeah, that's the reason I like Minomon last format too, was just your Chaosmon can answer theirs because of him.
Yeah. So that's my 5 eggs right there. The rest of the deck, let me see here. We have 2 Terriermons, which is pretty standard. Obviously, this is locking down things like any kind of blue decks with Hammer Sparks, Blinding Rays, Jack Raids, anything like that. Other green matchups that run Weedmon locks it down. Then this is something that a lot of other people don't run, and they kind of question me on why I run it, but I run 2 of the on-delete Palmons. This scenario actually come up in the during the tournament where this Palmon got deleted, and then I ended up putting a jamming Palmon under a Nidhogg and a Rafflesia to where I could actually Digiburst with Rafflesia again, locking down one of their guys and swinging 13k jamming into a security.
Very cool.
So yeah, the reason I'm running as a 2 of is because it is very situational. So I don't want to be hard casting it all that often. Next up, just got 2 Argomon and 4 Goblymon. This is your standard 2-drop package. Helps choke out your opponents while putting bodies on the field, setting up for bigger plays, wider plays on the board, setting up for your Digizorptions and things like that. And then I'm running 4 of the jamming Palmon. This goes without saying. This is kind of one of the meat, the meat to the potatoes in the deck, because it basically allows you to swing anything into security and let it survive any kind of battles. So
no Lalamons.
No Lalamons. I didn't feel like I needed it. This Lalamon is a good card I would say if you're running less Tamers than, if I was running less Tamers than this, I would probably put in 1, maybe 2 Lalamon. If I was running less level 3s, like rookies than this, I would probably run 1 or 2 Lalamon just to make sure I constantly have that cycle. But I never had a moment where I was like, man, I wish I had a rookie in hand. Man, I wish I had a rookie in hand. Man, I wish I had a rookie in hand. It was always, I had a rookie whenever I needed it, and I just played it. So,
okay. Awesome.
Then, for level 4s, I have 3 Vegemon. 1 drop. Simple dude, 4 costs. Get you out of jams if you need to just either play a little ping pong chicken with your opponent. If you've already got a level 4 and you're raising, or a level 5, and you need to keep choking them at 1 to force them to give you a bunch of memory, you can literally hard cast this after you've got a Mimi on the field, put them at 1 every single turn, forcing them to eventually bring up, and then you can react to them instead of you having to do something or give them a bunch of memory. You can literally play these out of your hand for 4, put them on the field, go wide, swing with them, build up over them, whatever. And, you know, it really is a good way to keep your opponent locked down and forcing them to play something. Next I have 4 Weedmon from BT5. I mean, this goes without saying, he's a staple in this deck, in any green deck for that matter. Digiburst and Game 1 Memory. Almost every mechanic in this deck is Digiburst, so it feels really good to be able to go into Grand Quagga for 3. Digiburst 4, swing into security. I'm at 1 memory now, so basically it makes a Grand Quaggamon 2. And then you can either play a rookie from hand to choke your opponent at 1, go into Rafflesia, you know, whatever you need to do. After that, it just gives you more of that engine to be able to choke your opponent. There was a lot of times when I would Digiburst Grand Quagga to go to 1, swing through, and then play a 2-drop rookie from hand just to choke my opponent at 1. And then we got, obviously, 4 of the Kabuterimon blocker. Another staple. Not much to say about this guy. My entire level 4 package is all 1 cost to Digivolve. This is literally the turbo section of the deck. This is something that I don't ever have to worry about my opponent giving me enough memory for me to go into my level 4, because everything costs 1. And it really gives me more versatility in the play, and to be able to go up the ladder, so to speak, and be able to complete my Digivolutions to make sure I've got everything that I need. So, let's see. Next I have 4 Blossom. Super standard in green, Digizorp, amazing card. I hope it never gets hit. Next, I have 2 Lalamon, and only 2. The reason behind this is because I feel that paying 3 anytime I want to go into a level 5 in my raising is a bit much. There's plenty of times in this deck when I don't want to Digiburst on level 5 unless I absolutely have to. And I feel like if I have her as a level 5 all the time, I'm more likely to Digiburst and mess up my reactions that I could do for Nidhogg or Grand Quagga or Flageamon or something like that. She is like a ripcord situation where I just need to get rid of something on the board to keep control. So that's the reason I only run her at 2. With that being said, I do run 2 Cherrymon. A lot of people stop running Cherrymon for some reason. I keep him in this deck because he helps me choke my opponents. 100%. Opponent puts me in 1, and I want to go level 5, and I want to keep him choked. I play Cherrymon. Boom, puts him back to 1. Now I have a blocker that can swing if I need him to. If I have a Minomon, boom, I can swing over swing over a 7K very easily. Lots of things, Nightmons, things like that. They're 7K in this format, so now I can swing over it. And I have a blocker, and it's only 2 costs. I mean, it's an amazing card that doesn't ever need to not be in a green deck. Last is Argamon. If this was at more than 1, then I would run more than 1. It's another staple green card that doesn't need much introduction. I don't really use his inherent ability that much, to be honest. I really never have. Even in 0.5 and BT4, there was never really a time when Argomon came up where I was playing level 3s offhand.
Yeah, his inheritable doesn't come up a lot the way Green plays now. I think it's more so just they don't want us to have 8 Digizorpers in that slot.
Yeah, him popping out stuff, I mean, they come in suspended. I could see stuff like maybe if this guy was at more than 1, I'd probably play more things like Tentomons in the deck.
Mm-hmm.
Because the on-play ability to be able to search is good. But outside of that, I mean, yeah, it's nice to go a little bit wider, but it leaves that Digimon so open to just getting deleted that I don't really care about it that much. Next to the big boys, I guess you could say, the star of the deck is Grenkwagamon. 4 of, obviously. He packs a punch. He rips through your opponent. He gets rid of their security, and he sets up nicely. There's not a lot to say about him. He is the OTK, literally. Next, I run 3 Nidhogg. I run 3 because whenever I'm not able to find my Grenkwagamon and I need a very hard control, most of the time my opponents will overextend themselves when they see that I'm struggling to build up or put a lot of pressure on them, so they will get a lot more relaxed. And that's when I'm like, okay, Nidhogg, boom. Now your stuff's gone. This come up a lot, especially playing against like rookie Russian stuff. I mean, I had an opponent, one round, he literally was setting up to like Spiral Masquerade for like $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
And I top decked a Nidhogg, and I was just like, Nidhogg? Now what are you going to do? Oh, you're not going to do anything? Okay, I'm just going to swing at everything and then win.
Yeah, I think
he's.
Sorry, I think Nidhogg's like the best card in the game. Honestly, I think it's insane.
I think he is huge for just for Green in general. I think that they needed that type of removal overall, because Green is more about like just suspending your opponents and going big. This literally changes the tempo of games. Nidhogg can literally flip a game on its head.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next, the card that everybody's been trying to build a green deck around and stuff, Reflegiumon. Like I said at the beginning, she's a pseudo level 7, and I play her that way. I don't always need to play her. I've had her in my hands all game before and never had to play her once. But then I've had her in my hands when I've had other stuff, and I've had to play her for 3 to do a proper lockdown. That, it is a very situational thing, but with this deck and the way it runs, like, having her at 2 feels like I have just enough to where I don't have to feel like she's clogging it, but then I don't have to feel like I'm missing out on anything either. It's just enough. And then the other 2 big boys, the level 7s, Chaosmon, I only run 2. Last format I was running 3, but running 2 in this format. Took out a level 4 and took out a Reflegiumon essentially. and that's where those two come in. You get him on anything, and he's good. But obviously the combos, the Grand Kalaga, boosted security, swing back over, remove something. Killed all kinds of Lord Nightmons with it yesterday, and didn't feel bad about it at all. There was actually one game where I had a Grand Kalagamon stack over here on the side. I raised it. I Digiburst 2, gained 1 memory, so I was at 4. Went into Rafflesia for 1, Digiburst the other 2, locked down their blocker. Then I put down Chaosmon, swung over a Lord Nightmon to check the security.
Nice, very nice.
So you don't have to just play Chaosmon over a Grand Kalagamon. You can literally build a triple stack and just go through stuff. That locked down my opponent from reestablishing board presence the next turn over the blocker, and it allowed me to be able to wipe out their Lord Nightmon, who was at 14k at the time. The only reason I was able to go over it was because of the Rafflesia boost. So, you know, and that's the reason I went into that setup. So, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, you don't need to play a Chaosmon anymore, or you need to play Boulder Arm. There was one game where I went, and I probably said this before, I went to Minomon, didn't Digiburst for Nidhogg, and then went Chaosmon over the Nidhogg and swung over Boulder Arm for 15k.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a lot of versatility in these cards, right here especially, but, you know, I feel like people are just, they might be just a little too narrow-minded on how they have to build green specifically or what it needs to do. I feel like there's so much versatility in this stack that you can go any way with it.
Yeah, people just want to play the shiny new toys and they want to play 4-ofs. I get it, but there's a lot that's already good with green.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they see, oh, new card, I have to build an archetype around it, when you got stuff that has been out for a while that is very versatile. Speaking of stuff that's been out for a while, Mimi, the girl, the lady of the deck, there's not enough to be said about her. She's amazing. I will say this, is that my deck can be so fast at times where she's literally just sitting in my hand. There's a lot of times that opponents in this format will give you more than the 3 memory from playing big cards. Zwart, for example, they'll throw me 5 or 6 at a time, and I don't feel like I have to play her as often as other people will. And I only run her at 2 because if I see her in my hand enough and I don't really need to play her, I don't want to feel bad for not playing her.
Yeah.
She's in here enough to where I can see her in hand or I can see her in security. And if I see her in security, it's super bonus bonanza at that point because I didn't have to do anything and I have a memory tamer. And if I see her in hand and the state of the game allows it, then most of the time I'll play it, especially if it's really early game and somebody gives me like 3 after they played their own tamer, then I'll do a couple things on the board, then I'll play my own to give it back to them, and that way it just evens the playing field again. But a lot of times I didn't even feel like I had to play her. Then for the options, we have 2 needle spray. Just like the Mimis, I didn't feel like I always needed to have these things. Against a, I'll put against a Lilithmon or a Lilith Loop deck. A guy went into Zwards. He then swung with the Zwart, restood with the pulled the Lilithmon back out. Then, after he restood, I checked security, it was needle spray, so I resuspended it. Then he had no other Digimon that could swing that entire turn. But he got a Lilith Loop and he had like 9 cards on the field. He was able to delete 4 of the 5 cards that I had on the field. The only thing that was left, and he could have deleted it, he could have swung over and killed it, was a suspended Argomon rookie. It was literally sitting like right here next to my deck. He killed everything else that was on the board except for it, and I had already triggered the needle spray, so it was in hand. He done all of his Lilith Loop stuff, and then hard played a blocker, and then I drew for turn, and then I was just like, needle spray, swing with rookie Argo for the win. And he was like, where did Argomon come from? I was like, it was literally sitting there the whole time, and there was actually a judge in the room at the time, and he was just like, okay. So he was very disappointed. Yeah, and then HBD, I think if I kind of, the more I play green, the more I see why they limited this. But that doesn't mean that I don't want it more.
Yeah. But it makes plays. It's huge.
Yeah, the play that I did, the Nidhogg, no Digiburst, and win the Chaosmon, I literally played the HBD. So I had the stack build up, I brought it out. He had given me 5 from something. I played the Nidhogg straight out, so I was at 0. Then I HPD'd into Chaosmon and put him at 1.
Yeah, that's super strong.
Yeah, so HPD is super, super strong, and I remember my opponent just saying that is one of the most broken cards in the game. And I kind of have to agree with him, but being a very green player, I obviously want more of it. So, but yeah, this is my creation in a nutshell. Like I said, I call it the RAFF of OTK because a lot of people are sleeping on OTK. They're more on the control side of it, trying to do stuff with hurts and things like that. And I'm more about just punching you in the face, getting rid of all your security, and forcing you to answer me fast, or I'm going to win.
Yeah, very cool. Is there anything that you might change if you want to play it again? Anything you ended up liking or disliking?
The only thing that I was considering changing was there was a time where there was one game in particular I was kind of bricking a bit much, and I was considering taking out the 2 deletion Palmons and putting in the new Terriermon Assistant just to give me that extra draw ability, and then also to be able to trigger Rafflesiamon in case I had her out on the field.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I might still consider doing. Because the deletion ability didn't come up that often, and I can always Digiburst to draw into something that I do need. The only downside from that is it takes away from things like Nidhogg.
Yeah, it kills your stack. It's rough.
It kills the stack for Nidhogg. And then it also severely limits you in Grinkwald and Rafflesia and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's a catch-22, but if I had to change anything out, it would be the deletion Palmons for the Terriermon Assistant. But like I said, in the entire tournament, there was only like once or twice where I was like, man, I really need to dig for a card, and this would have come in handy. But the deletion Palmon, is obviously fine in itself.
Yeah.
So.
Well, very cool, man. I like the list. I think I might try a version of OTK at this point, because I do miss just doing that punch, man. Just wiping it all out. But yeah, thanks for taking the time to explain the deck. Congrats on getting your invite. That's 3 members, half the team going to Nats now. Pretty exciting. And yeah, anything you want to give a shout out for or say before we wrap this up?
Just saying, everybody come to our Discord, the God Force Gaming Discord. Tons of helpful people ready to test out decks, talk about deck lists, talk about the format, future cards, events coming up throughout, all kinds of different webcams. And it's really just a good community to be a part of, especially if you like to play Digimon a lot. So, come out, join us in the Discord, and play in our events on Monday nights. It's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, our Discord is booming. We got a good community. We got, I think, some of the best players. I mean, not just on the team, just in the Discord, hanging out, playing games.
And I think that really shows for the community overall is, people want to get better at the game and they want to play at a high level, so they play against other players who are friendly at a high level, so that they can, become even better as players themselves. So
yeah, that's the thing. No sweat, no salt, but we get people good and we try to be good.
Exactly.
Well, thanks, Shannon. Congrats again. Love the deck. I'm stoked on it. And thank everyone for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Come to our Discord. Link will be in the thing here or over there, depending on what version of YouTube you're watching. All right, I'll see you guys. Bye.